Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Look who I am dog sitting. Let's get a closer look upon his face. Look at this doggy. Sorry, trying to make sure that my microphone's down, but isn't he a cute dog? Huh? Yes, you are. You're a cute doggy. Alright, hello everyone. Really? Okay. Hold on. Hi. Okay. That was weird. So, what's going on? Anything new out there for y'all? Uh-huh. Okay. Alright. Good. How are y'all doing, more importantly? Alright. Well, we're on day 32 or 31 of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie missing. I know. Many people are tired of it. I'm not. There have been reported, not reported, but opinions that she's no longer alive. But I believe that is mainstream media just feeding that to America so America can be like done and over with. You know? Because what I follow, and hello motorcyclist, what I follow is the non-mainstream, the news outlets on the YouTube, the ones that, are higher investigation type thing, been there for countless of hours and everything, been there since the beginning, I should say, and that's how long I've been following it, is since the beginning. And I'm no closer to figuring out who did it than the people that are there. I do know for a fact that, and the reason why I say for a fact is because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to piece together situations. So that's what I've done. And what I pieced together were, and why am I putting D's on the end of my sentence? That doesn't need to be there. What I pieced together was that it had to be someone that didn't know who Nancy was, but knew who Savannah was and is. I say was for Nancy because I myself believe, if she was to live, then people would have already said something about it, Like their capturers would have said something about it, would have said, hey, you have this much time more to get her back safely. And from the start, they've already done that. They've already said, hey, this is how much time you have to get her back safely. And they didn't heed that warning. And I'm afraid that, she's not back safely. Matter of fact, here's what I'm thinking. And I may be wrong here in thinking this, but I'm thinking that the FBI has someone in mind, quite a few someones actually, two to be exact, and maybe even a whole entire ring of operation, and they're keeping it under wraps so that, nobody will know. And if I'm gone by tomorrow, if this video is not up by tomorrow and everything, or it gets taken down, then you'll know why. Because I was right. But if I was right, it doesn't mean that I know anything. It doesn't mean that I'm an insider. I don't know what's going on. I don't go inside. I've been following it a lot, and like a lot of people, I have opinions. And I don't want to say I know what is in the warped mind of people, but unfortunately I do sometimes. Sometimes the warped minds of people are just that, warped. They don't care. They, if you're talking about somebody's mother who, what if it was your mother, they're like, and? I was like that type of person who would be like, and? No more. I actually, let's backtrack that. Because I wasn't exactly like that. I would say, so there's a scale, okay? A scale of how bad you are compared to how good you are. I was here. Okay, I wasn't quite so bad, but I wasn't, good by any means, like other people usually are when it comes to their family and stuff like that. And I've been watching JWW on the Move today, and he was just talking about family and how you need to hold on to them because you don't know how long you have. He was also talking about words and how certain words can hurt, but certain words can help too. Never feel ashamed or afraid of sharing your good words with people. Never feel afraid of, instead of sharing that negativity, share the positivity. Share the loving words, the caring words, the words of affirmation, like, like I have not done this for a certain channel, but I used to. So I'm going to mention it here because even though I said I'd never do it, I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm human. But anyways, this one YouTuber, who again is a very good content creator, who is trying different things on Roblox, not just DTI. This time it was a penguin game. And by the way, that's her favorite animal. And I wish I could buy her a real penguin, a real baby penguin for her birthday, just as a gift of thank you. One to say, I appreciate you. I appreciate the work you do. I appreciate how you put others in front of yourself. I appreciate your heart. The heart of loving people regardless their age or whatever. And now I must say getting to that fact, it wasn't her that has, like, wasn't her who has kicked me out. It was others that done that. If it would have been up to her, she would have wanted me to, like, stay in the community and everything. But I believe, and this is my humble opinion, I believe that it's best if I don't. I stay away because, there are haters out there. And there are trolls. I hear noise back there. Let's see what that noise is. Huh? I guess it's nothing. Anyways, like I was saying, haters be hating and lovers be loving others. And that's one thing. Have you ever really been loved by someone who loves you regardless, like your mom, your dad, grandmother, grandfather, but yet you still treat them bad? You know what I mean? You still what am I trying to say? You still, like, mistreat them. Have you ever had that happen? I've had. Not that I've ever been a parent or anything. I'm just saying that, I've treated my parents badly at one time or another, and that was not right. And there are words of I'm sorry that isn't enough. You have to actually prove yourself to be sorry, and proving yourself and being trustworthy, again, that takes a whole heck of a lot of time. Like, you've done something to break somebody's trust, and it could take up to 2 years to earn it back, maybe longer. And depending on what you did, you may have not ever, received their trust again. I even remember a couple of times when certain people in the family have actually said, you may never earn my trust back. And now that hurts. And I get that they were trying to hurt me at the time. They were trying to wake me up or something like that. But in reality, when you do that to kids, when you do that to younger siblings, both at the adult age though, but one is older than you, when you do that to a younger adult, an adult nonetheless, but still one that has a younger heart, when you do that, you actually make them feel worthless and unused. They lack the usefulness of what they could be, And here's my personal take on it. Because I've broken your trust, I can never gain it back. You know? In reality, that may not be true, but because you said that, it becomes true to me. Otherwise, why would you say it if it wasn't true? And that's another thing. Since I'm talking about words, many people are on YouTube or families or something like that, and they will say something before thinking about what they said, especially when they're mad or whatever. That's a dangerous thing, because you end up saying something that you don't mean, and it could hurt their feelings. So I'm just saying, think about what you're saying before saying it, because it could be too late. You could already have hurt their feelings, and they could do something to themselves that none of us would want to be done. Especially the trollers, the haters out there, the whatevers. Be mindful of what you say, especially on the internet, because it stays there for life. That is why I try to be careful about what I say to others. That's why I try and build people up on platform and in real life. Because if I can't translate what I'm absolutely trying to say on here, and boy, that was a hard word for me to say, absolutely, there you go, thank you. But if I can't translate to y'all how much I appreciate y'all, how much I love y'all, how much words mean, the good words amongst the bad words. Now, the bad words are here. The good words are up here. When you say good words to people, whether bad or good people, doing bad or good things, they aren't bad or good people. They're just doing bad things. It's because those bad things they do, they don't know any better. And I will get hatred, I will get feedback like, they know what they do. I don't care. I don't think they do. But, like I was saying, bad words, like negative words versus the positive words. The positive words outweigh the bad and negative words tremendously. Say you're like passing by something you see amongst other people and you like it, like attitude wise, say something about it. Like, I have a cousin who is younger than the rest of the cousins, and I don't tell them this much like I should. But no matter how badly they treat me, whether other people see it or not, I do. Maybe it's just because I'm way too sensitive, and that may be, and that's gonna have to be okay until I go to the great heavens above. But yeah, I need her to know, that younger cousin, I need her to know that I still love her. I still care about her. I still, regardless of what she may have done, regardless of what I may have done or said, you know. And the reason why I'm saying it here is because a lot of times it's harder to say, like, in person, because you feel uncomfortable or whatever, you know. So it's easier to say in a video. Just like I'm gonna go out there and say it to all of my cousins that watch this, you know. And even if they don't watch, I'm gonna say it anyways. Thank you for being there. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Thank you for putting up with me. I love you all. Don't ever change who you are inside. Alright? God is more powerful than any being that may come into your life. Don't ever escape Him. Don't ever move away from Him, because if you do, your train of thoughts and everything will get lost. I don't want to get into much of that because, you know, people who have a right sense of direction of going towards God knows. But those who don't have the direction of going towards God, they don't know yet. And they won't know until God opens their eyeballs and will open their ears. You know, I can only help plant the seed. It's up to God to have them hear what I say. To have them hear what is coming from my mind. What's coming from my heart. You know? But yeah, I just wanted to pop on here and say hello and tell you that there are power in the words that we speak. So think wisely, speak wisdom, and be careful out there. It's a bumpy ride, but I know we can all put our seatbelts on and ride this ride together. Goodbye, and God bless.